Shalom, shalom. I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh. Hashem Yahweh Shah, this brother Yahweh, the servants, back at it again with another video through the Spirit, right? This is going to be a quick little exhortation through the Spirit, right? So don't lose faith, right? Don't lose faith. And I'm going to drop some precepts real quick. Let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9. I want to say verse 7, 9 and 7, right? The book of 2nd Esdras, 9 and verse 7, it says, Salaki, hold on. Bear with me. I want to make sure my screen is sharing. Okay, there we go. All right, the book of 2nd Esdras 9 verse 7 says, "And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed." Right, and so the times to come, right, we're gonna have to stock up on faith. You don't need faith in the times to come, man. It's a lot of things that's finna go down. Right, you got famine that's coming. You got pestilence. You got all kind of. You got chaos, anarchy coming. Right, you got race wars coming. All kind of stuff is coming. Civil wars coming. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do inside? You gotta have faith. Right. Of course, you need to be doing the works, keeping the commandments. Right. Of course, and repenting. But you gotta have faith. Right. You gotta have hope that the Lord is gonna save you. You gotta believe in the Lord during those times. Right. Let me get another precept. Right. The book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 12. Right. It says, "Here is the patience of the saints." Right. Here are they that keep the commandments of God in the faith of Yahweh Shai. Right. So we got to be having faith in the times to come. Right. When you got the saints being cursed, the Lord getting persecuted. Right. You out there in the wilderness. Right. You ain't got no food in your house. You gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. So I'm gonna go to some accounts, right? Some accounts of our forefathers, right? Matter of fact, before I go there, I'm gonna go to the book of Sirach, right? Chapter 2 and verse 10. Right, the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, "Look at the generations of old and see did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded." So it's telling you, look at the generation of old, look at the men of old, right? But have they ever been confounded? Right? Did the Lord ever leave them hanging? Right? No. So we're gonna go and we're gonna look at one of our forefathers, right? And that's gonna be Elijah, right? So we're gonna go to 1 Kings chapter 8. I mean, 1 Kings 17, right? We go to 1 Kings chapter 17. We're gonna get into it. It says, "And Elijah the Tishbite, who was the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, As the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that's before Jordan, right? And it shall be that it's like I'm gonna jump down. That's not a count. Well, first I'm gonna say this. Elijah, he prophesied that famine is coming. Famine was coming, right? And that's the same thing we're doing right now. We are telling our people what we go to the book of Matthew, right, chapter 24, right, and we let our people know that, hey, according to the scriptures, according to prophecy, that famine is coming, right? According to the last days, right, people are gonna die for the lack of bread. Right, let me get this in the book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse number verse number 7. "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines." Right, so Yahweh Shai was letting us know at the end times there are going to be famines. So just like how when Elijah was on the scene, he was prophesying and saying, well, hey, boom, famine is coming. Ain't gonna be no rain, right? Because rain is how the crops grow, right? So therefore, by them not receiving any rain, thus they was gonna end up having a famine, right? Because if you have a garden and your crops never get watered, it becomes that you have a drought. The crops can't grow, right? They end up dying off because there's no rain, right? So boom. Anyways, Yahweh Shai, right, telling us, hey, in the last days, famine is coming. And we saying the same thing to our people. We don't know, hey man, famine is coming. Pestilence is coming. Right? Let's get another precept. Right. In the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16, I want to say. Bear with me. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go right here and make it a little easier. Right, because in Second Esdras, I want to say it's 15 or 16, it says that people gonna be destroying one another for the lack of bread. Right? They're gonna be running in people's houses, kicking in people's doors, right? Because of the lack of bread. Right? They're gonna be, yoking up their neighbor, putting guns to their neighbor face for the lack of bread, right? The neighbor that they've been sitting next to, that they've been living next to for 20 years. They done hosted barbecues together. They done gave each other sugar, Kool-Aid, whatever it may be. Right? They're gonna turn their backs on their neighbors in the times to come, right? Because it's gonna be a lack of bread. So in the time when you have people turning their backs on one another, betraying one another, unaliving one another just to survive, you're gonna have faith in those times, right? But I'm get this real fast, and then we're gonna go back to the thing. But it says, a man should have no pity upon his neighbor. The Second Esdras 15, 19. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So there's going to be a time where a man is not going to have pity on his neighbor. He's going to be destroying his neighbor's house with the sword, right? And that sword, that modern day sword, is that gun, right? They're going to be busting down the door with ARs, right? Dracos, shotguns, right? Just to get some bread, just to get some food, because it's going to be great tribulation in those times, right? So when you got all these different things going on, you're going to have faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You got to have faith in the Lord, right? You got to have faith. Why? Let's go to this precept right here. Second Esdras chapter 2. And we're going to jump down to verse 13. It says, woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. So those people that's faint-hearted, they don't truly believe, it said you're not going to be defended. The Lord is not going to defend you. Why? Because you're being faint-hearted. Why? Because you're not really believing in him, right? You're trusting in man. You're trusting in this. You're trusting in that, but you're not trusting in the Most High God. Therefore, you're not going to be defended, right? You're going to get caught out there, right? So let's go back to the account, right? So it's two accounts I want to give, but I want to read this right here. This is the book of and this is a Mahdi account, right? A Mahdi account. I'm gonna read this right here. So I can. So fast forward back, we were saying with Elijah, right? So during the time, right, that Elijah prophesied that there's gonna be a famine and things like this. Watch how the Lord took care of Elijah. Right, let's keep going. It said, and it shall be that thou this 1 Kings 17:4. It says, and it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. Right? So the Lord set it up to where Elijah, just by him doing what Lord told, he said, hey man, go eastward, right? Go to the brook Cherith, right? Just before Jordan, right? Hide yourself, right? And we're gonna have to be hiding in those times, right? Probably hiding because we on to run from Esau because they trying to take us up, right? They trying to put us in prison, right? Let me get this precept in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16. And it's going to be a time that we're going to have to hide ourselves, right, from society, from the from getting tossed in FEMA camps, right, for getting snatched up, right. This 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Oh, slack it, I'm tripping. That's all right. All right, boom. Okay, boom. All right, so boom. We're gonna go to 2nd Ezra chapter 16. And yeah, right here. 2nd Ezra 16 and 40. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. In those evils, going in the times that we're talking about with the different famine, the different pestilence, right? The time of great sorrow, mourning, right? Anarchy, great tribulation, people having no pity on their neighbor, betraying friends and family. During this time, it's going to be a lot of evil things going on, right? You're going to have persecution of the saints, right? Brothers going to be getting snatched left and right. It says, be even as pilgrims upon the earth, right? And the pilgrim, right, they going from place to place, right? They on the run, they on the move, right? Hey, we're going to have to be hiding. So again, right, let's go back. Again, so boom. We're going to have to be a situation where we're going to have to hide ourselves, right? But look how the Lord set things up for Elijah. He said, man, go to the brook. I got drink for you, right? I got ravens set up to bring you food. And Lord could do the same thing for us. But you got to have faith and believe that he'll do that, right? If the Lord did it for them, like, he can do it again. And he can do it, he can do it even better than that, man. He can do whatever. The Lord can do anything. Anything is possible with the Most High God. You have to truly believe this, though. When all hell break loose, you might not know. I mean, you might not have nothing. I mean, literally nothing. Not a slice of bread on you, right? Not a can of beans. But you gotta have faith. The Lord can, just like how he had ravens, he commanded ravens to feed Elijah. The Lord can do the same thing for you. But you gotta believe that, right? So it says, so he went and did according to the word of the Lord. For he went and dwelt by the brook of Cherith, that is before Jordan. So so Elijah did exactly what the Lord told him to do, right? And let's keep on. It says, and the ravens brought him brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. So he had food in the morning, and he had food in the evening, right? So you gotta keep these accounts in your mind, right? When all hell breaking loose, and you seeing all the great evils of the world going down, right? You ain't even in the house at this moment, right? You ain't got no refrigerator, right? The stoves all closed down because they've been ran through, right? But the Lord can put you in a situation, right? That you can be fed, right? You might stumble upon a bag somebody dropped, right? Then you open the bag, and the bag full of food, right? Got water, right? It might happen, right? You might stumble upon an abandoned house, and in this abandoned house, it's got all kind of food stored in there. You never know what the Lord could do for you, but you got to remember the accounts of what he did for our forefathers, and we are those same people. We are those same people, right? We come from the same people, just as Elijah, just as Moses, just as David, right? All our mighty forefathers that the Lord took care of, Yahweh Shai, right? We are the same people. So we got to remember that Lord, just like he did those mighty and wonderful things for them, right? He can do mighty and wonderful things for us as well, right? But we got to have faith and believe that Lord will do that, right? I'm going to get a precept too. I'm I'm gonna get another precept. When the Lord said that, hey, my servant shall eat, my servant shall drink, right? You have to believe that, right? It said, this is the book of Isaiah 65 and verse 13. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord God, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Right? So there's going to be a time where people are going to be hungry, they're going to be starving. Lord say, hey, my servants, they're going to eat. You got to remember that. You got to believe that. Right? He says, behold, my servant shall drink, and ye shall be thirsty. Right? So the Lord, he's going to take care of his servants. Right? That's why when you go back to Sirach chapter 10, he said, look at the generations old. Remember our forefathers. Remember what he did for Joshua, right? And the Israelites, when they came into the land of Canaan, and how they was able to overcome all those enemies. The Lord did that for us. Remember how when we was leaving Egypt, right? And the Lord gave Moses that power, right, to part the Red Sea, just so we can escape. How much so when you hear about all these great evils that's to come, all this danger, all this sorrow and mourning, right? That's to come. We can't fear. We can't be afraid. We gotta have faith. We gotta have faith, right? So keep these things in mind, right? So let's go back, right? And it says, and it came to pass, right? It says it came to pass after a while the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. So now, boom. Now Elijah's getting to this point, right? Well, boom, hey, the brook done ran dry, right? So we gotta see, is Elijah gonna lose faith? Is he gonna give up? Is he gonna denounce the name of the Lord? What is he gonna do? Let's keep going. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, arise, get thee to Zarephath, right, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. Look how the Lord moving. Look how the Lord, I mean, he's saying, boom, Elijah, go do this. I set up ravens to feed you, right? Hey, go to this place. I set up a woman, a widow to sustain you, right? The Lord could do the same thing. The Lord, these things are not a light thing for the Lord. Let me get a precept in the book of Isaiah chapter 23, right? In verse 6. Slocky, not 23, 26 and 3. Right? 26 and 3. It says, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. So when the world is in chaos, right, anarchy, but it's going to be people that's going to be losing their minds. You're going to see bodies dropping left and right. People going to be losing their mind. Blood splashing out, right? People starving, right? People going to lose their mind. But in a time of chaos and anarchy, the Lord can give you peace, right? He can take care of you, right? It says, but it said because he trusted in thee, so you got to be trusting the Lord. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Yahweh is everlasting strength, right? You're gonna have people that's gonna be on their last leg, right? Stomach touching their back, right? Growling loud, right? Children might be crying because they hungry, right? But the Lord can strengthen you those times, right? Because you trusting in him, because you believing in him, right? Having faith in him, right? It says, for he bringeth down them that dwell on high, the lofty city. He left it low. He left it low even to the ground. He bringeth it to the dust, right? It says, so basically, just like how some of these folk, right, they sitting up high, a Lord can bring them down low. And just like how he can bring somebody down low, he can bring you up high. You could be at a moment where you have nothing and then you have everything that you need. The Most High can do just that, right? So I just want to bring that out. Now, let's go back, right? And it says this, right, was that First Kings 17, and we go to verse 10. It says, so he arose and went to Zarephath. He did what the Lord told him to do, right? And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. He called to her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch, he called to her and said, bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thy hand. And she said, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in the cruse, right? And behold, I'm gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. Right? So Elijah, he could have heard this. He's like, what? Like, how's she gonna sustain me? All she got is a little meal in a barrel, right? With a little bit of oil. How this woman gonna sustain me? He could have came with that kind of spirit, right? He could have came with that kind of spirit, but no. He said, I understand. You gotta see the play, right? You gotta see his faith right here. This is him showing faith right here. You got Jake nowadays. Soon as they hear that, they probably turn around leaving. Oh man, how the hell is she gonna sustain me? All she got is a barrel, a meal. All she got is 2 slices of bread, right? All she got is 3 slices of bread and a little sandwich meat. How this woman gonna sustain me? Hey, Jake nowadays, they'll walk off. They're like, hell with that, man. Right? But that ain't what happened. Let's find out what happened. Right? Does he give up at this moment? Right? Does he turn around and go somewhere else? Or what did he do? Right? It says, Elijah said unto her, fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me after make it for thee and for thy son. So he stood bold, he stood on business. He said, hey man, go ahead what I told you to do. Right? Because why? He got faith that the Most High said, hey, he already knew, Lord said, I'm gonna sustain you. That woman, that widow that you meet, I already commanded her to sustain you. Even though she don't know what's going on, he know what's going on because he trusting in the Most High God, right? So let me get another precept. Right, so we gotta be constantly. In these times to come, man, you gonna have to, and that's why right now it's so important to be stacking up on faith. Right, we gotta be stacking up on as much faith as we can, because you're gonna need it in those times. Right, you're gonna need faith in those times. Right, let me see. Right, I'm gonna get Psalms 31:1. It says, in thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in thy righteousness. Right? So the Lord can deliver you, right? But you gotta trust in him, right? It says, bow down thine ear to me, deliver me speedily, be thou my strong rock, for in a house of defense to save me, for thou art my rock in my fortress. Right? So the Lord is our rock. He's our fortress, right? He's our protector, right? We gotta really remember. We gotta remember that's why. Look at our name, right? Yasha Allah, Prince of Power with God, right? We got power with the Most High God. We gotta really believe in that. We gotta really trust in that, right? Let me get another precept. Right, this the book of Psalms, chapter 40, and verse we'll start at verse 3. So I can show this. It says, and he have put a new song in my mouth, even praise unto our God. Many shall see it in fear, and shall trust in the Lord. Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respect him not the proud, right? But I'm sorry, the point is, right? It says, blessed is the man that maketh the Lord his trust. Right? You gotta make the Lord your trust, right? And the Lord can bless you, right? But you gotta trust in him, right? You gotta believe in him, right? And even though, right, it looked kind of crazy, when you hear it coming from her mouth, you're like, that sounds crazy. Hey, all I got is a barrel, right? But the Lord, hey, but Elijah, he stood stiff on it. He's like, nah. I'm gonna continue trusting the Lord, right? So it says, for thus said the Lord God of Israel, right? The barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail until the day that the Lord send a rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she and he in her house did eat many days. Right? Check that out, man. It says, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah. So you gotta see how mighty this is, right? Imagine that, bro. Like you gotta, let's imagine a small bag of flour, right? You just got a small bag of flour, and you just got a little bit of oil, just like a little bit of water, right? Just like that, a little bit of oil, and you got a small thing of flour. But because you moving off the faith of Yahweh Shema Shai, he's constantly replenishing it, to where it's not, nothing is wasted. Nothing is gone. You're not missing nothing. And she was, it was so crazy. The lady, she was like, man, I ain't got nothing just for me and my son to eat and die. But because, and look how she hearkened, right? She hearkened to the men of the Lord, right? And she believed, right? She had to have faith too, right? And she did such thing, right? He said, hey, thus said the Lord God of Israel. So the Lord said, hey, man, I'm going to get another precept. Lord said that his servants, they're going to eat. He said his servants, they going to drink. All right, let's get a precept in the book of Job. I like to bring this one out too, because it's a good precept to see, like, man, how, you know, in the time that's going on, how the Lord gonna take care of his people, right? Y'all gonna see what I'm talking about when we get here. The book of Job, chapter 5, verse 22, right? I'm starting at verse 19. Right? It says, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. Bro, you gotta believe that. You gotta believe that, man. That means when it says 7, it's this all spiritual. You can go through a countless amount of troubles, and the Lord can deliver you out of every last one of them. Now, and think about this, right? When you watch movies, right? When you watch like movies like the end time movies, I love end time movies. Like, for instance, the movie Civil War, right? They was like on the move, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get to one side of the country, something like that. They were trying to get to one side of the country, something like that, right? Well, first, no, they was getting a documentary put together as well too, right? It was some journalists, right, on the move, right? So, anyways, in the movie, right, as they're journeying, they're on this journey, right? They go through so much hell. They catching hell this place, that place, but they end up surviving, right? But I mean, when at one point in time, like they had this was going on, then it was that was going on. I mean, they couldn't catch a break, but they made it through, right? And that's gonna be what, and that's probably how things gonna be, right? It's because it's called Jacob's trouble, right? The worst time that has never been in the world, right? So it's gonna be you're gonna be catching hell. But even though you're gonna be you might be catching hell, and you might catch a moment here, you might catch hell here, catch hell there, right? You might but the Lord can deliver you out of every last situation. You could be running, right, and then boom, a gunfire just break out. So you got to get up out of there, right? Then you go down the street. Then the whole you run then next thing you know, a whole bunch of cannibals come by, man, right? Trying to take you out, and the Lord deliver you out of that, right? Then you as you keep going, right? You finally escape out of that. Then hell, you might run pack you might run past a wild pack of dogs. Who knows what kind of trouble might run into? But the point is, though it might be trouble on the left hand and right hand, behind you and in front of you, the Lord can deliver you out of every last one of them. But you got to believe that, right? It says, in famine, he shall redeem thee from death. So these people, right, during the time when life was going on, when life was that scene, during that time, it was a famine going on, right? The lady said, hey, man, I'm about to make this cake and get ready for me and my son to die. But what happened? The Lord redeemed them from death. Even though it was famine, even though she had a little bit of flour left, a little bit of oil left. And that could be you. You just got a little bit left. You might just got one apple at that moment in time, right? And then you got one apple in your bag, right? And you reach in your bag, you eat the apple. Then you reach in again later on, and there's another apple. The Lord literally can do that, though. You can't put nothing. You can't say, well, I can't. When you say I can't see that, or that's hard for me to understand, you lack in faith. You lack. You just gotta believe it. You just gotta believe it. You gotta believe it, man. You just got to. And that's faith. Cause we didn't really see this. That's faith. Let's go to Hebrew, the precept. Another precept. Hebrews 11:1, the classic. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So you might not can physically imagine and see it in your mind, but you gotta hope. You gotta hope. You gotta believe that thing. You gotta be like, nah. I got it. I know the Lord can do this. I know the Lord will do. Even though it might be impossible for you, because you just man. We just man. So yes, a lot of things look impossible for us. A lot of things look hard for us. A lot of things look difficult for us because we in his flesh. But that's not the Most High. He's not in this. You can't put him in our kind of situation. You can't understand. Well, I'm in a situation. You can't put him in a box. You can't put the Most High in a box. Yeah, we might be limited in what we can do, but the Most High, he has unlimited power. That's why we trust in him. That's why we rely on him. That's why we call upon him, because we need him. Right? That's how it works. We need him. Without him, you're finished. You're done. You're toast. You ain't got nothing. Right? So we need the Lord. We need him. Right? So boom. It says, right? It says, doubt shall be hid from the scourge of the tongue. Neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. Right? It says, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh. Right? So the Lord can put a different kind of spirit on you, man. Right? Everybody panicking, but you laughing. Right? You like, man, I'm bummed that, man. You sitting back giggling, having a good old time. Right? Because Lord is taking care of you. Right? And you never know how I was with Elijah in the widow. They might was having a good time, just chilling, right? Whole around everybody else, they struggling, they losing, they don't know what's going on, man. Right? And that's the thing. And you gotta think about this. How Elijah, he's somebody, I mean, look at he could be like kind of like us, men of the Lord, or women. Well, I say just us, but the righteous. I'm gonna say that he could be symbolic for the righteous people, right? Or the righteous men and women, Lord, right? That Lord takes care of during the time of famine, right? So you very well could be that person, But you gotta believe and trust in the Most High God, right? So let me get and this account is so crazy, yo. But I'm gonna say this one for another time though. But that's somebody one too though. I'm gonna go to this right here. I don't know. Right, here we go. So now we're gonna read another account. Right? We're gonna read another account. Now this the book of 1 Kings chapter 19. We at verse 1. Right? It says, I'm gonna go verse 1. I'm gonna jump down to verse 3. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life. Right. So you know you got Jezebel and Ahab, these wicked folk, right? They slaying prophets, right? Which is also, again, think about the time that's to come. They gonna be slaying the men of the Lord too. In the time to come. We gonna be persecuted. We gonna be put to death. Right? So Elijah, he was one of those ones that was able to escape. You gotta really put yourself in that mindset, like, dang, you could very well be that way. You might see your brother, right? He might get slain, or he might get put in the guillotine, but Lord, you might find a way to escape, right? And as you escape, or as you in the wilderness or whatever, the Lord is taking care of you, right? That very well could be the case. It says, when it came to pass, he arose and went for his life and came to Beersheba, which belonged to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down. And see that? When you think about it, right? He was in a day's journey. You gonna have some people, they gonna be in the wilderness, right? You in the wilderness, you in the woods, kind of getting it, right? Or you just traveling, getting weary, right? Whatever. It says, and he came down and sat down under the juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die, and said, "It is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers." Right? So he was at last leg, man. It was like he thought he was gone, man. He thought he was gone. And you can be like that. You can be at your very last. You can be almost out of there. And what, man, I gotta get this precept, man. Slacking. I gotta get this precept. The book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 11. It says, "For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering, and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction." Right? So Elijah, he was at a tense moment of affliction. And he thought he was almost out of there. And then boom, look how the Most High get down. It says, and as he lay and slept under the juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him, right, and said unto him, "Arise and eat." And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baking on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink, and lay him down again. So boom, he was at the brink of death, and boom, the Lord saved him in a time of affliction, right? And the angel Lord came again the second time and touched him and said, "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee." And he arose and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb in the mountains of God. So Elijah, right? He got that bread, right? And he got that bread, and it sustained him for 40 days and 40 nights. A Lord could do the same thing for you. right? The Lord can do this. You have to believe this. You gotta believe it. Even though you might not see it, you gotta believe it, man. You got to. Because the Lord can do that. You wake up, hey, you was on the brink of death. You wake up and you see a sandwich in front of you. A sandwich. You eat the sandwich and you don't get hungry no more for days. Days. You been running off for days off that sandwich. Your stomach ain't growling nothing. The Lord can do that. Right? So in the times to come, don't lose faith. Don't give up. Don't stop believing in Yahweh Shemel Shai. Don't stop trusting the Lord. Right? But Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh Shemel Shai. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Kwame Shalom.